Okay. All right, and we are back. We are live with game number 2 between Master Mallows and Team Yippie, who is up 1-0 right now and looking ahead right into the round of 16 for the playoffs. As we are seeing a little bit of a stack in the bot lane, but with the 5-point defense from Team Yippie, doesn't look like it will come to fruition yet.
Team Yippie making some exploratory movements there into the enemy jungle, gonna get that ward down for free and some poke off. Not the most impactful thing, but knowing when those raptors are clear might help out that Mel a lot. We talked that the Mel might receive some of that early attention. And I gotta say, Team Yippie, Shibal Byungsun picking the Riven into insert best. Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh,
they switched sides. They switched sides.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
This makes way more sense, Toki B. I was going to talk about how it was an ego pick, yada yada. You're picking Riven into the Riven guy. No, okay. They've switched sides. Master Mallows is on that red side for this game. And it is Shibal Byungsun that likes to play that Riven, one of their most played champs in solo queue, and has been the only presence that Riven has had all year is people banning it against Shibal. So I am excited to see them finally get to pilot it.
I mean, I'm super excited to cast it. This is my first ever game casting a Riven in over a year of casting it. I mean, we're seeing right there just the trade pattern you can have even at level 1. It's so impressive, but obviously insert best name as a Masters top laner has probably seen quite a few Riven OTPs at this point, so should know how to pilot into it, but still going to be a very difficult matchup.
All right, so now I've changed my opinions on a number of these picks based on the nameplates that we're now seeing with them. That's the adjustment there from Master Mallows on the red side. Let the scoreboard not deceive you. With them picking a very early game centric bot lane, not trying to fall too far behind, not trying to give Kites that, you know, early advantage that they were able to get last game, but Dark Lord going to be able to have maybe more of an impactful performance here, was so impactful playing that Poppy, and now as a champion that's designed to be a frontline fighter, designed to be constantly up in the thick of it.
Yeah, now we're gonna be seeing overall across every lane, CS pretty even everywhere, but over in the mid lane, Codeine really gonna be starting to take the lead there. So gonna be very difficult because, like you said, the Mel does win very hard into the Ahri, and I'm wondering if Fights is gonna be able to find a way to make this Ahri work anyway.
Yeah, Fights is going to have to play a little bit more of a balanced game state. Can't try and bully out, as, you know, Ahri can tend to do into opposing mages. Going to have to try and probably, I imagine, look for cross-map plays, ganks, and such. And good on you for calling out. I didn't even notice that Codeine has been subbed in for this game. Yagi is out, Codeine is in, which I think makes some sense looking at it. I didn't see that Yagi was a Mel player, and Mel not necessarily the most popular champ. Obviously had a big, you know, surge of popularity when it initially came out, but has never been particularly the strongest champ in the mid lane. Has some very good counterplay, has some very good counter matchups, but doesn't do the most on its own as a pick. And as we were seeing this Riven just aggressively trading
over in the top side as well. Smexy is here, and that's just gonna be first blood. The ignited red buff dealing more than enough. His Fights actually getting a decent trade over in the mid lane as well, but Codeine is gonna turn it right back. Immediate 2-0 going out, and Master Mallows finally getting on the board.
Yeah, Master and Mallows have tied their kill total from all of game 1. That tells you about as much as you need to know about the start of this series. Master Mallows getting a good play towards that top side. The Camille unable to get out. The Riven doing so much work. And in that mid lane, you got to see exactly why Mel is so strong into the Ahri. The entire Foxfire and just reflected direct at Ahri's face. And that little bit of extra damage starts to chip down. And with a good EQ, it's all she wrote, the passive getting that execute.
Yeah, now they're looking to make a play over on the top side, though. Dark Lord 70 might just be walking in to help get this lane shoved away, so there is no hard freeze coming out from Shibal, but it's still showing a lot of domination right now from Master Mallows. Says, hey, we got the overlay set up. Let's go. Yeah, we were having some technical difficulties, but it is all correct now. Yippie up 1-0 overall, but Master Mallows up 2-0 in this first game. And we're even seeing Master Mallows, they're just going to immediately go for the dragon here. They have priority in mid lane. They have the first move in bot lane, and with Smexy being the trundle with a full phage, going to be pretty difficult to contest from Yippie.
Now, we do see this tends to be the case, especially across pro play, that the first dragon goes over to that red side. A mixture of things creating that, but it doesn't hurt that they have just been so dominant across the top. The jungler is perfectly fine to come down here to the bottom lane. A bit of an in-vain attempt there from Intuo trying to steal the drag with that Q. And Yippie just being the ones on the back foot this time, not able to find much of anything to push forward. But the drag went down so early that the Void Grubs have not spawned. And with a gank on the top
there's no
side,
ward anymore. Dark 70 is going to be here, but instead it's just immediate blade of the exile coming in from Shibal Byangsson. Just going to be able to get the kill, going to be able to get out. As now Fight's taking a huge amount of poke. Cody also just really starting to win out. Not actually, did the charm not go back there, or did the charm go wide? But
the charm reflected, but it reflected immediately into a minion.
I could have sworn there was no minion there. Okay, yeah, fair enough. So Cody not gonna be able to get the kill there, but will force Fights to reset and just get a free push.
Yeah, Master Mallows much happier with this start of the game, saying, hey, whoa. That first game, that was a fluke. We made some early mistakes, and they were fairly catastrophic in hindsight. This time, we know what we're doing. We're here for a 3-game series. We might get a 3-game series because Master Mallows came to play early on here, already up about 1.2k in their total gold there. And hopefully they can utilize this gold lead much the same way that Yippie did last game, continuously try and pressure out, force out those resources, and then punish when they don't have them.
Yeah, exactly. But one thing we did see in game number 1 was Team Yippie, they got that early lead, but then they were able to keep pushing the tempo. They were able to keep growing that lead and keep shutting down Master Mallows. But now that the early game is going the other way, where Master Mallows are getting these advantages, they're getting this lead, I'm very curious to see if they're going to be able to be as oppressive as Team Yippie was. And if they are, it's going to be a very interesting series later on.
Well, the big push, what made Master Mallows just fall so far behind, what put Yippie just in the driver's seat last game, was that huge fight in the middle of the bottom lane last game, where Dark Lord 70 just went kind of insane on the Poppy, reminding people like, hey, this champ does like damage, guys. Did you know this champ does damage? Because I figured out this champ does damage.
Yeah, but Ignite gonna come through. Blade of the Exile as well, looking for it, and will get another solo kill on the top side. And Grubs are up, Smexy's here, Tricky's here as well, and just gonna be another free objective going over to Master Mallows.
Tokiwi, I think we're seeing perhaps why the only presence of Riven this year was it getting permabanned against Shibal Byangsson, because this guy is making it look fantastic. Riven's just one of those champs where if you aren't fantastic, if you aren't excellent at the champ, you might as well not even play it. It requires such a high level of mastery and, such a high level of skill and on your inputs just to make sure you get any value out of the champ. And I don't know, Shibal is making me want to boot up that solo queue, start playing it again, and remember why maybe I'm not on the same level as this guy.
Right, that's a thing I've always noticed whenever watching these players that are all better than me. Let's have zero debate about that. You watch them and they're like, oh, this character looks so fun, this character looks so fluid, so easy, and then you pilot it yourself and you're like, right, I'm not actually that good at this game.
This is hard. Like, that's the thing, it looks so simple. The way Shibal is just absolutely perfectly timing every ability in that top lane looks so effortless, but it requires such a high level of mastery to get to that point, especially on Riven. Hats off. What a strong early game that they're having.
Yeah, and just continuing this pressure. We've seen this trade pattern before Shibal Byangsson was up 2-0 in this matchup. And now this trade pattern, Insert Best Name doesn't even really get any full damage off onto the Riven. At this point, Shibal Byangsson is just able to heal it right back, just completely shredding Insert Best Name with that full finished item. It's going to be so dangerous for Insert Best Name to get any kind of farm at all. Except when Shibal Byangsson pushes it in, but there's still going to be a lot of missed CS in this lane or a lot more kills.
Yeah, you really have to make the decision here. Shabal Youngson just walking around the tower, like, okay, you have fun with like the 6 minions you're going to be able to collect from that wave. I'm going to just set up my wave to be perma pushing you under tower. But in the bot side, cleanse is used.
Yeah, just roots going over the other way, but M2O might be getting run down a little bit. Codeine is here as well, and M2O just going to be all alone, getting perma slowed by the Ashe, and Regis going to be able to get that kill in the bottom lane. Codeine gets taken down decently low, but it's just going to be safe. It's actually the flash forward from Kites. We'll have a chain of corruption, but it is going to be Kites going down most likely, trying to get the snipe backwards, but again, the slows coming in from Regis. You are not getting away, and now it's Dark Lord 70 and Fights, but it is a 2v4 now. Regis is going to get smited. Is slowed. Fights looking for the snipe. Will find the charm, but already Codina's taking out Fights and will be able to get the double kill under Dark Lord 70. It's all falling apart for Team Yippie.
Yeah, Yippie no more. Master Mallows breaking the game wide open down here. They were at least collecting plates, you know, that they were actually getting good push, but some overextension there with especially the Codeine roam. That's why you pick this Ashe, the Ashe and the Karma together. They're so potent because, you know, you have the slows from not only the Karma Q from that mantra, you know, the big AoE, but also Ashe's perma slowing makes it so easy for the Karma tether, for that focus resolve to come all the way through and get the root off as well. And so they were just able to run down poor M2O with nothing to do. And Kites, I think, is the reason that goes so
they are going to go forward with a pop blossom. Codeine already able to trade back one, and Dark Lord 70 doesn't have Cyclone, so that's just going to be another free kill going over to Codeine.
And at this point, Kites went forward, right, with that Chains of Corruption, thinking maybe he would catch Codeine and then be able to quickly follow it up, like with a tapped Q, perhaps, to be able to get that arrow through with all of the stacks. But what's happening?
Youngson looking for the snipe underneath the turret. Not quite enough damage for the kill yet. But again, insert best name needs to try and get out of dodge, because Shibab Youngson, if you stay anywhere near him, if you see him in vision at all, that means he's in range to catch up to you. And again, gonna miss so many minions, and a third plate going over to the Riven.
A third solo plate going over to the Riven. Dragon going down. A fourth plate now going over to the Riven. This game is getting out of hand really, really fast. We tried to make a play in the bot side. Not only did it fall flat, it cost us a 4-for-0 on the kill score. And now, I think at this point, Team Yippie recognizes that they are so far behind. They just need to start forcing things to happen and hoping that they can find a miracle play and catch back up. We are really early in the game for that to be the case.
Yeah, and Kites also going to get run down here. No flash available. Smexy trying to get traded back. Fights does have Spirit Rush. Could look for Smexy and will get the initial shutdown, but how much more can they get? Regis going to immediately pop the cleanse, and Imto going to get traded back. And now Fights all alone in the enemy backline, but we'll have one more charge of Spirit Rush and we'll be able to get through the Hexgate. But again, that's still a massive victory for Master Mallows, but at least Team Yippie's on the board.
Team Yippie's on the board. They did get a kill. They're now down about 5k gold. They've given over those feats of strength, and they've given over the feats of strength so early that I don't think people even noticed that Master Mallows got the feats of strength, because they still have 3 sets of cloth boots on their team. They haven't even finished boots, Toki B. This is just complete domination across the Rift. They are very unhappy with what happened in the previous game. Otacon gonna be like the next big objective that is up. You know, the dragon there as well in the bot side. You can see that his pit has finally spawned, so I imagine we're gonna get some heavy attention to this bot side. But if you're insert best name, you have to be careful in this top side. You don't have a tower anymore.
Yeah, 2 level difference, and Shibab Youngson almost on that second item already at 14.5 minutes. This is a very, very strong Riven, both in the side lane. And I imagine at this point, considering there's no true tank on Team Yippie, can probably one-shot almost anyone on the Rift right now from full HP down to 0. So there's just so much threat right now from Master Mallows. But my question to you is, if you're Team Yippie, how do you get back into this game?
It's a tough call, because they haven't drafted themselves a significant amount of scaling. It's really just the Varus, and with lethality, Varus, he actually doesn't scale as well as the on-hit Varus does. On-hit marksmen scale really strongly into the game because they get a lot of percentage modifiers.
They're going to be looking for Regis in the bot lane. Will get that enchanted crystal arrows. Try to get Dark Lord 70 away. The Cyclone will end up reaching one more, and that's going to be the shutdown. So they do get something back, but in the meanwhile, they lose their mid-tier 1 to Master Mallows.
So they are doing what they need to do, which is to get away from that overloaded mid side, overloaded top side of Master Mallows. There's gonna be a kill going over. It's so over.
Yeah, just gotta be walking forward. We'll be able to get the hook shot stunned, but just flashing forward a lot of Marauder. And with Blade of the Exile, gonna be another kill. But in trade, Team Yippie, they're pushing down this tier 2, and this is actually worth a lot of gold.
This is a lot of gold, and they still have those bounties up. This is what you need to do. Like I said, get out of that top side, get away from where it's super overloaded, and just try and pick up what gold you can. They've actually narrowed the gold lead a significant amount with that play, but still, even though they've narrowed the gold lead, they are ceding pressure. The top side tier 2 is going to go down, and it is going to be the Rift Herald, I believe, that is going to spawn relatively soon.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the Rift Heralds spawning out quite decently soon. They do have Smexy's already holding on to it. Might try sending it over towards that mid lane, towards that bot lane. Maybe they can try and break 2 turrets down there, but like I said, they are getting something back on the side of Team UP, but it's just getting worse and worse for them. Even with that turret, Cody able to get that kill on a Dark Lord 70. We are now seeing 2.5 items on Shibal Byangshin, because obviously with that top tier 2 going down as well, that's an extra 700 gold injection into the Riven, and this is really getting scary.
You know, guys, October's over. It's November. We don't have to be spooky anymore. And scary is the right word, because we're already, last game we were talking about, like, man, what a great game from Team Yippie to constantly punish, get these small little bits out, get these like one resource here or there. But it's not actually, even though it's an early game dominant like kind of game from Master Mallows, it's not the same. This is just Master Mallows. They're not like getting a resource out here and there. They're not chipping them down and then, you know, keeping up the tempo. They're just running them over like a bulldozer, like an absolute steamroller. They're just flattening these guys, and they just have not let off the tempo. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised, you know, with the dragon coming up soon, with that Otacon thereafter, for them to just drop the Rift Herald into any given lane. And Yippie is doing what they can. They're trying to get into the side lanes and pick up this gold from all of these objective bounties, but they're just so far behind on tempo. This is going to be sole point that's going over to Master Mallows.
Yeah, and I'm even wondering if maybe Master Mallows could have contested onto that top turret while still not giving over the dragon, because I mean, we're seeing how this 1 versus 1 trading's going on. We know that Codian is also incredibly strong. I actually think they didn't necessarily need to give that away, but Shattered Slayer are going to come out over the top. Shibal Byangshin just going to immediately get taken down. Not too much to hype up there, because 0-5-0, that's just been the tempo of the game so far. But now they're going to be looking to break open that tier 3 in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and they let their tail charge on its own to use the manual charge on this next turret, get all of the little voidlings. They're certainly going to get this tower. They might even try to look for that like mid lane push as well. They can just immediately rotate over and shove that wave. You can see the pings coming down now, and there's just, again, the tempo. That's the big difference here. Team Yippie just can't find their footing on the map. They just don't have anything to play around. They do get the top lane tier 2.
Gonna be able to land the rune, and they have changed the corruption on Smexy as well, but they just don't have any damage in the area, so not gonna be able to follow up on that. As now Fights in danger, gonna get stunned up, and look, just one auto dealing so much damage, but Fights is staying here. They are looking for Shibal Byangshin. They are sending the entire team. Avengers assemble, and it is gonna be a shutdown. Dark Lord 70 will take down the Riven.
Yeah, you said it, Avengers Assemble. I was thinking the very same thing. They brought the cavalry over, and they don't lose too much for doing so. You can see they had that top lane shoved so far in. They had, you know, there's no objectives up, so they're not really punished for sending that Riven back to the grave screen. Maybe a bit of overconfidence being that far forward without the proper vision on the map. But at the same time, yes, they don't lose anything for making that play. They do get the shutdown, but there's no real way for them to capitalize off of it. All of the objectives are down, none of their waves are pushing, and so they're just able to get only that kill. And as much as it is a mistake, it's not a mistake that'll be too heavily punished.
I mean, one thing I do want to bring up, though, after everything's said and done, it's only a 2.5k gold lead. I think the vibes tempo that we've heard from Chronicler all throughout Worlds is definitely the main thing that is carrying the game right now. 15-3, 3 Drakes. For sure, they are ahead on the side of Master Mallows, even with all of this kind of fake gold that they're not actually seeing. But the Otacon is going to be brought up right now. Cyclone still going to be down for Dark Lord 70, down to half HP. If they can steal this, though, this would be massive. Objective bounties are now gone. Imto able to find 2 in the backline. Can they follow up, though? They have found Tricky's. Tricky's not going to go down. Instead, it's going to be Kites, as Shiva Byangston just running everyone down in this fight. Already a double kill, will find a third, and it is going to be 4 players down. Dark Lord 70 pretending, but not going to be able to trigger for too long. Did make him hesitate, but it's still going to be the ace for Master Mallows as they're up 20-4.
Yeah, they only lose Tricky Z. They're able to pick up the Otacon. What a classic. Huge team fight at Otacon. And for Yippie, I think, especially when you can't see those gold numbers, you can only rely on, we can see what objectives have been taken, we can see what towers are down. That's, I think, the big difference here for Yippie on the blue side versus Master Mallow's last game, is they have actually found some towers, especially with those objective bounties. That's why the gold remains so close, but they can't see those gold numbers. They have to rely on that same vibes tempo that we were talking about. And because of that, they feel pressured to, like, we need to fight at this Otacon. Like, if they get this Otacon, we can't win the game. So we need to fight for it.
But they're going to be finding more right now. Smexy might be the next caught out. Nice charm landing by Fights. And that's going to be an extra shutdown. Even more gold going over to Team Yippie. And again, Master Mallows still going to be up 5K with the Otacon, with all the dragons. And Soul spawning in a minute. I think this is going to be the next big fight of this game.
Yeah, I think Soul is really going to be a deciding factor here. It's a very powerful Soul, especially for this team, especially for this Riven. Think about it. Riven now just gets extra move speed to run you down even harder as soon as Blade of the Exile comes off cooldown. What do you do? Broken Wings, Key Burst. Broken Wings, Valor, Key Burst. Broken Wings, Blade of the Exile, you're dead.
Exactly. I mean, it's just such a difficult game to play right now, but they do have first move. They did find 2. They found Tricky Z and Cody. Tricky Z going to be the sacrificial lamb, or so I thought, but it's just going to be able to walk it away. Red just forced to flash over the wall, but now with the volley, able to slow them down. Shiba Byangston now trying to turn around, but will take a lot of damage over top. Is now Kites slowly but surely getting a run down by Shiba Byangston, looking for more fights. Has one more dash, but is it going to be enough? No. Blade of the Exile going to be there, and it is a 4-for-0, and they might just be looking at the game through mid.
I don't think they've got quite the damage onto these towers at the end of the game. They're low in a few spots, but they should just double back and take the Soul here for free. Yeah, I imagine Trundle's just going to walk over, take this free dragon, and they can kind of do whatever they want on the map. Shoving that mid lane in gives them chance to rotate over. They're going to get the dragon. They're going to shove that top lane in as well. And again, Yippie just behind. There's nothing they can do. They have to take care of these. They have to take care of these minion waves, or they're going to start losing towers just because of the minion pressure. And losing that fight just puts them even further behind. Again, they have been, putting up a bit of a better fight than Eminem has been doing in the last game, but they're just unable to find those kills, find that last little piece to bring these fights together when it matters.
Yeah, definitely. And now with the Soul going over to Master Mallows, it's going to be even harder for Team Yippie to be able to approach these fights. They have every buff on the map right now. Everything that has spawned has been taken by Master Mallows. And it's just going to be Baron spawning in 1 minute and 10 seconds. That's going to be the last big objective left on the map for Master Mallows if they're able to take it. But Cody looking to burst down into best name, but actually going to be able to dodge with a Hextech ultimatum. But Cody still going to be chasing forward, has the volley, and will be able to get that kill, but will have to burn flash for it. As now Shiva Byangston might be targeted down, but the Palm Blossom not going to be in range. Kite's just going to get run down by Regis, and now the fight's truly starting. Imto all alone, going to go golden, but look at the damage onto Fights. Imto going to fall next, and this game's just starting to get really scary and really difficult. Dark Lord trying to cut the wave. They're at that point of desperation, just trying to survive one wave longer, but they won't even give them that. It's a clean ace, and Master Mallows are looking to take us to a game 3.
Yeah, 2 very fast games back to back here, and I think we talked about this as soon as we said, we're like, there's no tanks here. There's no one that even remotely is provides survivability outside of like Karma Shield, Trundle ? And so we're like, this is gonna be volatile. This is gonna be fast and lethal it has been. And something I want to shout out. We've been talking Shiva Byangston on this Riven, so good. I kind of want to shout out Cody in the mid lane, subbing in here for game 2, and it's understanding their role as the Mel very, very strongly. When you get ahead on the Mel, it's so tempting to build a sort of, you know, damage over time, passive play style, just poke and prod. But Mel is actually very strong, and I think at her strongest when played as this artillery mage, especially if you can get that early lead, because you just blow people up, and there's not really a chance to respond.
In the backline, they have been able to find one, but in the meanwhile, Red is going to immediately go on a rampage. Fights and Nip2 are already gone. They have lost Kites. Dark Lord 70 still trying to fake people out, but not going to be able to fake out Shibao Byakuya. 3 for nothing, and I said they found one, but Tricky Z still going to be able to survive. And now with the Baron buff, with the 4 for nothing, they have the super minions, and they are going to be taking us to a game number 3. Unless Insert Best Name comes with a historic play here, but there is no chance there. At the very least, we'll try to avoid padding the KDAs, but again, it's going to be a kill for Cody. And Master Mallows with 1 blowout game, going back to a second, going the other way, and we're going to a game 3.
Yeah, and you know what? This makes a lot of sense. Both teams trying just their absolute damnedest to keep this series going. You know, a great first, you know, good just sucker punch comes out in the first game. Bam, you're not ready for it. But then, you know, Yippie gets a little cocky and they're not watching out. They get jabbed straight back in the mouth. And now it's which team can land that knockout punch, because whichever team does gets to go to playoffs. This matters a lot for both teams. And man, just total dominance. I would like to see one of these games, maybe this last game here is like a little contested, because I feel like we knew who the winners were pretty early on there, Tokibi.
I mean, definitely, but I do have one big comment I want to make about that game number 2, all right? If any teams are watching this trying to scout out Master Mallows, I'm saying this as someone with no bias. I don't care if there's entertainment value at all as a caster, right? Don't ban the Riven. You can beat it. Definitely allow it to come out, especially if it's a stream match. So don't ban it. Play against it. Don't look at the graph. Don't look at the graph at all. 28.3. That's fine. You know what? Just don't ban it. It's fine. You can beat it.
For a second, I was like, dang, man. Well, this guy's got an opinion. He's got a hot take. Just beat the Riven. Yeah, you know, as someone who definitely doesn't care about watching cool, awesome players make cool, awesome plays, you should never ban the Riven, because it might be cool and awesome, but you're cooler and awesomer, which are both words that are legal to use in the English lexicon. Listen. Yeah. I don't really, it's hard to make comments on what you see when it's a game like that, when you have these like gold graphs, back-to-back games where it's a 10,000 plus gold lead by the end of the thing, and all that's left is just to say it out on the Rift. We've got one last game, Tokibi, and I'm hoping it's just gonna be just a slugfest between the two teams, because we're getting a little deeper now into these champ pools, and you know, I don't know, anything could happen, man.
I mean, anything can definitely happen. Blowout game number 1 for Team Yippie. Blowout game number 2 for Master Mallows. And unfortunately, we are going to have to go to a break before we find out who exactly is going to be the big winner game number 3 and advance to the playoffs. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon. All right, and we are back with the deciding match of the decider of who goes to playoffs. Master Mallows versus Team Yippie, and 2 slugfests so far in game 3. I'm hoping this one will be a closer one.
Yeah, you know, we kind of just watched one team just haymaker the other team, and then the Master Mallows turn around, just haymaker back. And like now, let's just exchange some blows first before we go for the knockout, right? A couple of jabs, couple of light taps, because we have just watched 2 absolute slobber knocker blowouts. Just one side just bloodying the other. And I'm hoping maybe now that we've gotten a little deeper into the champ pool, we will see, you know, a bit of some exchange, because both these teams clearly around the same level, right? We're watching an elimination game to get into the playoffs. They have similar records, and they've done similar things to each other in the first 2 games, and that means we can get a very entertaining game if the stars align.
Yeah, exactly. And we are going to be seeing a Jin Zhao locked in here, which I believe was the final jungle pick out of the like meta S tier jungles. So might see something interesting coming in from Team Yippie, and it might even be this Jax. Most likely is going to be the Jax jungle there, and Caitlyn locked in as well. So that early game, prior that early game gameplay, that's what we've seen win these games so far, and Caitlyn's definitely quite good at that.
Yeah, if it is, you know, Yippie's back on that red side, which, you know, might make sense. We have a 100% red side win rate so far. Taking the Xinjiao there as Master Mallows does also take it away from Dark Lord, who has played it quite a bit this season. And on the flip side, we do see Master Mallows going back to their kind of blue side classic, what they like to do, and that is to pick that kind of crit scaler, that late game team fighter, and in the Sivir. And you talked about the Caitlyn. The Caitlyn can get neutralized a little bit by the Sivir. The spell shield can turn off things like the Piltover Peacemaker, or that, you know, that huge ultimate that can come through just to execute people as they try to get away. All of a sudden is a little less threatening with that spell shield around.
Yeah, not to mention, but in general, when you play Caitlyn, your whole champion identity is get plates early on and just try and snowball through there. Sivir doesn't let you interact with the turret because she just one-shots the wave, and there's really not much you can do about that. So Caitlyn is definitely going to be losing a little bit of her early game identity into the Sivir, as we are seeing a Galio locked in probably for this mid laner, looking to match into Syndra. So a little bit lower damage coming out from the mid lane than we've seen prior to this, but with the Jax in the jungle, Caitlyn in the bot lane, they should still have enough.
Yeah, I do imagine they will. I see we're kind of getting this second wave of bans, but before we touch on that, I do want to talk about the Galio, because it's not a traditional answer into the Syndra. I wonder if the Syndra's going to be more than happy to try and just shove you back, no real way for you to get those long range trades in. The Winds of War is fine, but certainly not the highest damage ability in the game, and Syndra's going to be more than happy to just pick those splinters off of you. Meanwhile, we see two of the best options to pair with that Sivir, the Milio for that extra range, the Lulu for that super positive survivability, able to get the Wild Growth in there. Those are both banned out. No more extra attack speed for that Sivir. On the other side, Leona banned out, as well as the Morgana. Those are both picks that Yippie plays, Imtuo having played quite a lot of both those champions, and they pair quite well with the Caitlyn, who wants to set up a lot of kill threat.
Yeah, definitely, but you could still do Lux with Caitlyn, obviously not as good as the Morgana. I'd be a little bit surprised to see that, especially into the Sivir, who's already kind of neutralizing the lane as is, but out of the engagers, oh, it's gonna be Seraphine. Okay, that's a very interesting one. Does have a decent amount of roots, does have obviously that encore, and good range for poke if they just want to keep laying out the hurt.
Yeah, you know, it's got some good range. It's a very versatile pick, right? It can lean more into damage, though I wouldn't expect it to in this matchup. You know, has some very strong ability to play Enchanter as well. This would be an interesting one for me. You know, Tricky Z, I know, does play quite a lot of Enchanters, but I think something like the Nami is still on board to counter out that dive. But no, they are going to go with the Soraka. And while there's no serious pressure onto the Soraka, you know, you do have a poke lane. There is no like hard engage. I wonder how it will fare in the later game team fights.
Yeah, exactly. And one big thing I'm seeing, especially with that Aatrox locked in there, this is even going to make my point even stronger there, because Xin Zhao heals a lot just naturally through the kit. Soraka heals a lot and heals everyone a lot. Aatrox relies on those heals. Anti-heal is going to be very big for Team Yippie. And with that, if they have a ton of anti-heal on their team, once again, there's no true frontliner for Master Mallows. Xin Zhao can do a little bit, especially with the Crescent Guard. Aatrox, an off-tank kind of like... I think a lot of people on broadcast before for LCS and stuff call him a drain tank, but he's still a bruiser at the end of the day. But Irelia locked in the top side, and we have an interesting matchup.
That's interesting. The Irelia actually throws a serious wrinkle into this, because that implies to me now that there's a lot of flex coming through, that Jack's going to be in the jungle. I would have to imagine. Yeah. But technically the Galio or the Irelia could go topside. I don't think there's any real reason to pick the Galio into the Aatrox, but you know, hey, I'm not in their heads. I do wonder what the plan here is with the Irelia. Obviously, it offers a lot of dive, and there is no real anti-dive option. Obviously, Xin Zhao does have the ultimate, can displace people that way, and there is the Scatter the Weak. Maybe they can kite back with On the Hunt, but there's no big like CC that like forces them to consider whether or not they want to dive. Something like the Nami or the Renata Glask ultimates that would have provided that value. And for the side of Master Mallows, they don't have any like point and click easy as you like engage, right? They're reliant on maybe they can get a Scatter the Weak that finds some value. Maybe they can get a Xin Zhao like 3 Talent Strike to find some value. Whereas Yippie have, you know, so many different options to like dive and like harass.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have the stronger team composition, at least in terms of ease of execution, to start these fights, to make these plays happen. But ultimately, like we saw in the last game, all that matters is how far ahead can you get early. And if we see anything past that, I think that's where we're going to see how much more versatile these teams are, because so far it's just been early game into transitioning that victory.
Yeah, so I think we have some interesting things. I think, once again, Master Mallows with their crit scaling ADC going to try and play for those later team fights. And I think positioning, as always is, but I think especially this game, is going to be so crucial. Soraka has no recourse. If you are ever caught by anything ever, you are dead. And there are so many little catch options, you know, on the side of Yippie. Master Mallows, like you talked about, that ease of execution is not in their favor, but if they can pull it off, their team comp is going to be pretty hard to deal with.
Well, we'll see if they can pull it off. For now, we are going to be going to a short break as we build up that spectator delay. But when we come back, we're going to see the deciding match. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon. had a stomp in game 1. We had a stomp in game 2, and now it is time for the final deciding match between Master Mallows and Team Yippie, and immediately they're going to start with all 5 members, but Smexy going to be there to spot them out.
Actually does see them, is going to seed the space, drop a ward. They immediately clear it, so I mean that's technically a little bit of early game gold injection. 5 gold lead over on the side of Yippie. Call it, it's over, it's done.
Yeah. Game's just done. I mean, I do think Master Mallows, they performed exceedingly well in game number 2, but you can't win them all, and I hope to see them next season. No, I'm kidding. They're going to be pretty strong here right now, but what is interesting, though, Team EP, they're not leaving. And a lot of the time, these engages, these invades, once the ward's thrown down, they kill the ward, they back off, but they're going to do a secondary late invade. But again, Smexy in the perfect position to scout this out, but will have the entire top side of his jungle fully covered in wards.
Yeah, and it's good disciplined play there from Smexy, not to get lazy or like just sit inside a bush or whatever. Sits at like kind of the optimal spot to spot them on either direction. Does find out about the ward, but this is going to give Team Yippie very specific tracking to see what Smexy wants to do. He is Shinjao. He could opt for that 3 camp gank into the top side, and they're going to know exactly what it is he chooses to do.
Yeah, 100%. And looks like it is going to be starting off blue buff into Gromp. Probably going to be going towards the bot side. Shinzao not very known for those early ganks, for those level 2 ganks. And especially, I think, with Smexy knowing that the whole thing is warded, not really going to be able to find too much with that anyway. As Dark Lord 70 also is starting on a ward, so both sides do have equal knowledge of each other, but level 2 Prio in the bot lane actually going to be going over to Regis on the Sivir. Definitely not something you want as a Caitlyn, but could still spell disaster later on if Kites and Imtor are able to just find a good route, one good trap, and they could definitely look to burst people down.
Yeah, that's just the power of the Sivir, though. You talked about it as a neutralizing force. Caitlyn wants to get those early plates, you know, poke you out, use her immense range. What is it, 650 attack range? Just a disgusting number. To, you know, kind of just be a problem. But Sivir is like, I'm just going to hit the minions, and then I'm going to hit the other minion, and then I'm going to hit the other minion. And because of just the nature of the way that champion plays, is easily able to like take that kind of XP advantage, kill out all of those minions just that little bit faster, and it's going to really neutralize any plays they want to make. And even with the poke that they're going to be able to find with the Seraphine Caitlyn combo, it's just going to be healed right back by well, the Soraka that you don't necessarily always see in organized play.
And we are seeing a gank attempt over in the top side. Dark Lord 70 was looking for the play, but so we're going to see a Justice Punch into his counter of the week over towards the mid lane, but Coding still going to be getting zoned away and will actually miss the cannon minion just from that a brief exchange. So overall, still a small victory going over to fights, as over in the bot side, looks like Smexy was looking for a gank of his own, but not going to be able to force out too much. Will get the summoner heal, but that's it.
Yep, and you know, again, I think both these teams are realizing, hey, it's game 3. It's time to sort of lock in, right? We had our fun game 1 or game 2, depending on which team you are. But now game 3, this is where it really matters. Winner takes all. Loser goes home with nothing. So they got to try and just keep it going here. That's why neither team is like hard committing to anything dangerous. Both teams just playing out a very neutral early game so far, but a small gold lead starting to amount there for Master Mallows.
Yeah, and that is very interesting that they are playing a bit more passively, because game 1 and 2 were so explosive. And now with this time when everything is fully on the line, both sides just, I don't know if they're scared to make plays or if they just haven't really found the right opportunity for themselves yet. Time will tell with that one, but they're just playing so safe. They don't want to make the mistake, but sometimes that's what you need to do in order to be able to win those games. Got to take those risks, and we'll see who is going to be the first one on the board.
Yep. We are starting to see kind of what we expected out of both these lanes. Very equalized in the bot side. The range of the Caitlyn being kind of normalized out by the extra wave clear that Sivir has. So the very neutral lane there in this top side. A bit of that, you know, pressure from the Aurelia is able to get down onto the Aatrox. I think Aatrox going to be adding a lot of value because of all of that healing in these team fights. You talked about anti-heal. I'm wondering how quickly each individual member of Yippie is going to pick up that kind of 800 gold tax they need to pay.
Yeah, and I'm also wondering who's going to end up picking it up for the team. As level 6 gonna pop for both, but is their best name gonna tank a turn shot? Fondu going to land, but not gonna flash forward, not gonna be looking for that extra blade surge. And it's just gonna be ultimate for ultimate used in the top side. It's both top laners at around 1 HP.
Yeah, if they had not taken that extra tower shot, I think they would have gone for it, but they're already too low. Taking another tower shot would just trade 1 for 1. And I think, you know, Aurelia without the ultimate is a little more happy with the lane state than Aatrox without the ultimate. Also wins out, gets the flash out of the Aatrox as well, and so is very happy with that. Meanwhile, a kind of sneaky dragon here being taken by Smexy. They do spot him out, but without their jungler nearby, no pressure to be found. So you're gonna see Dark Lord try and get some like invade counterplay on the top side, but the entire jungle's empty.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be rough, but could look for a potential gank in the top side. And I believe the wave is in a state where insert best name could just kind of hold the wave in a really bad spot for Shoot by Byakuya, but instead they're just gonna go forward. Flawless duet not gonna be able to land. They will be able to get the counter strike into the hero's entrance. There's no flash remaining, and it's just gonna be a kill handed over to insert best name. And 6.5 minutes in, we have first blood.
That's the punishment for using your flash in the previous play. Like I said, you know, that's going to be the Aurelia. Very happy with that you know, trade early on. If you're getting rid of that summoner spell, do have to use the ultimate. That means a couple of minions you see being missed in the mid lane there for fights. But playing the Galio, not necessarily too determined to be the big carry for your team. Not so sad about losing out on that farm if you're picking up a you know, a kill for your team in the top side.
Yeah, definitely. And we're even seeing in the CS numbers still isn't really behind. Might be down 1 or 2 CS, everything said and done. But at the same time, Showa Byakuya also going to lose a ton of CS in the top side just from that dive, just all those minions dying to the turret. And Insert Best Name was also able to get a plate, so a lot of advantages going over to Team Yippie, and especially Insert Best Name maybe could be the carry this time around.
You are going to have to just kind of wait this slower game pace than the other two by far. Only 1 kill so far in these first few minutes. 1 objective taken there as well. So each team making a little progress.
Vanguard's edge gotta be coming out. Yeah, and again, they're going to use both their ultis, but last time it was underneath the turret. This time around, Insert Best Name could look to fight a little bit longer, but is just playing a little bit slower. Definitely winning out on the trade, but not going to be able to get the kill from it.
Yeah, and the Aurelia is really tough to deal with, especially because she is approaching full build. As you can see, those 2 components, that's pretty much the entire build for Aurelia.
Yeah, don't need anything else. Once you have that, you are at max power, but Smexy is in the area, and 1v2 could definitely be difficult. Flawless duet already going to be missed. Insert Best Name will be forced to flash. Luckily, still had that. Did not have to burn that in any of those previous fights.
Yeah, again, that's just because the Aurelia has been able to just slightly win out. The grubs are up, so that flash down could be important here.
Yeah, now we're seeing both teams bringing their supports up for this trade. Flawless duet going to land this time around. Looking for the extra damage with a Defiant Dance, and Wish has to come out to keep Showa Byakuya alive. And instead, the flash forward will be able to get the counter strike, but Codeine is going to be here first. Insert Best Name going to be the first casualty of the fight. Dark Lord 70 trying to jump away. Will be able to get away for a little bit, but unleash power, and it's a double kill for Codeine.
Yeah, that's, you know, that's kind of the result of just slow bits and pieces stacking up. We used the hero's entrance earlier. It's not quite ready to go at that moment. There's no real good target to use it on. And it's interesting because it is actually the Soraka in Tricky Z that makes that first move to rotate over much, much faster. And that gives a lot of advantage. Master Mallows going now to pick up that feat of monster slaying and get all 3 grubs, which is a pretty big deal. Neither team has the biggest, you know, siege potential. Obviously, Caitlyn and Sivir are both pretty good at it, but the rest of their team not providing that much value. Now, all of a sudden, those 3 gubs could make the difference.
Yeah, definitely. The gold is still quite close, though. 600 goldie definitely there for Master Mallows. Potentially the start of a bigger lead if they're able to build on it. And now we're seeing 2-0 for Codeine. We'll be able to reset and get that money spent. I think that's the big thing we need to look forward here. just seeing how much extra items and how much extra pressure Cody's going to be able to output with all this gold in his pocket.
Yeah, I got 2 kills. The spell shield is gonna do a little bit there to negate some of that
GP on the bot side coming out from Cody. And I'm wondering what the plays here, but Imto actually going to be able to dodge away. Encore is going to be able to be found, and Tricky's going to be going down. I'm a little bit surprised about that play.
Yeah, teleport into the bot side really out of nowhere.
And they have the root on the Cody as well. They're trading a little bit back and forth. Kites will be able to survive the hero's entrance from fights. Going to give that magic shield to keep Kites alive, but it is just going to end up being the trade of ultimates from the mid laners.
Yeah, finding a lot of value, but for Yippie and not for themselves. Meanwhile, the junglers here are both playing mid lane. You know, the classic mid lane matchup, Xin Zhao versus Jax.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one we see all the time, but so far did look like Dark Lord 70 was the winner of that mid lane matchup. Got a couple plates over towards the Jackson with the scaling. Gonna be a lot stronger there, but now World Ender popped in the top side. Vanguard's Edge gotta go the other way as well. It's her best name trying to dodge out on those crits. And once again, it looks like both sides are ready to back away for now. Shiba Byangston's World Ender has ended, but Dark Lord 70 is on the way. Flawless Duet lands once, but is starting alone. Flash forward. It's going to be the feat of Warfare going over to Mallow Masters and Shiba Byangston. And they will be able to get the dragon as well. So I believe that is just a feat of strength overall.
Yeah, they get the feat of Warfare and the feat of Monster Slaying back to back, and really, really tough. I would have liked to see, you know, I'm insert best name there, try and just stall a little bit more, goes forward and immediately gets dunked on by his Aatrox. Yes, you have the Bork. Yes, you are full build, but Aatrox just hurts. He's just so tough to deal with. And if you're just going to give him the sweet spot on his Qs, he's going to really, really punish you for it, because that made a huge difference. If they had just stalled there in that alcove, waited for their jungler to come up, their jungler was sacrificing any potential at, you know, probably fighting at that Drake with their bot lane. And now you gave over 2 feats instead of just the 1.
Yeah, but on the hunt, gonna get popped. Kites in a very bad spot, just gonna get burst down. But what about Imto? Fights is gonna be TPing down. And it looks like it's just going to be the 1 kill going over to Master Mallows. But again, they're just able to find the play. They're able to find the pick.
Yeah, lots of good small decision making there. You see that, you know, Kites is trying to kite, but with on the hunt, it was too easy to get.
Up Encore as well. They're on top of a blast code though, and Cody will be able to jump away. Tricky Z is gonna be there with the heals, as now Smexy might be the one on the wrong side. Actually gonna be going in. Crescent Guard buys a decent amount of space, and both sides looking for the play, but neither one able to find the kill.
Yeah, first that play in the bot side, and now we've got some skirmishing in the jungle. There's really no objectives to play for, and Yippie was really hoping that they could find some value, try and get some gold back. But the state of the game is right now that Master Mallows certainly have an advantage.
Yeah, and Flawless Duet gonna pop immediately into Vanguard's Edge and World Ender. These two top laners are just using their ultimates off cooldown, but if it's just the auto attack trades, it's her best name just gonna get taken out completely. Jamal Byangston with another solo bolo in the top lane.
How many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man? As they just, the World Ender is too strong. You can't fight him when it's up. And yes, you got the Vanguard's Edge down, but Vanguard's Edge is much better when it's used into a group
trading
setting.
Into Kites, getting a lot of damage done over top. Still has the pocket. Soraka trying to run forward, taking another headshot. As now Shiba Byangston gonna get set up underneath the turret. But do they have the damage? Dark Lord 70 needs a little bit more and will be able to get the shutdown in the top lane. As in the bottom lane, doesn't look like anyone did go down, but it is going to be the barrier used by Kites and the ghost from Regis.
Yeah, it's at least a little bit value back there. They do find something.
Trying to fight into Smexy and has the hero's entrance, but actually going to flash away, not going to continue this fight. But now Imto's here. They're still looking towards Regis. Regis does not have any mana, looking for the extra snipe to ace in the hole. There is no spell shield. Will go down. It is a kill for Kites. As now Cody is here. Scout of the Week has already missed. Since her best name in the area. Does not have the ultimate though. So another, let's say, interesting TP coming out this game.
Yeah, it's you know, I think it was more of a deterrent than anything here this time. At least they didn't give over like the Master Mallows TP where they just kind of gave over a kill for free. They at least said, hey, maybe I spoke too soon.
I believe that's what we call a cast cruise, but they are going to be looking over towards Coding. But again, even with the flawless duet, just not going to be able to find anything. And in the meanwhile, Smexy going to be up and taking that Herald for Master Mallows. Gold is still quite close. It's still only 500 to 600, but all of the objective go in the way of Master Mallows.
Yeah, it's been a really, simple time for them. They've been able to have a lot of pressure in all the lanes, and so because of that, they've had no problem getting in there to fight over top of these objectives.
Yeah, but now fight 1v1 right now. It is going to be Smexy who takes the Herald. But Dark Lord 70 still in the area. It could look to turn, but Yippie Bjornsson is on the opposite side. Flawless Duet will buy a little bit of time, but now insert best name trying to run away because there is a Saber chasing you. And with the extra hop, Dark Lord 70 going to be able to escape at least for now. But now Imto going to be the next target. The Encore just used to stay alive. And Yippie Bjornsson's continuing to go forward. Another Flawless Duet. And now did they go too far? Right now, Red is able to get the first kill. And it's just going to be the 1-for-0 for Master Mallows.
Yeah, Master Mallows recognize that they're considerably stronger at the moment. They've got a lot of value from those 2 drags that are encouraging the fight, extra healing, extra damage, and so they just continue to step forward, and so far not punished for it.
Yeah, now they're gonna take down this mid-tier 1, gonna put a little bit of extra gold into Smexy and Regis. And this definitely is not the stuff that we saw in game 1 and game 2, but it still feels like to me that Master Mallows are continuing to build up the leads that they need. And it's in the exact same places. Cody and Yippie Bjornsson just winning out individually in their lanes.
Yeah, and I did some looking because we were talking about how they were trading those ultimates to the top side. And even in that last team fight, we did see that both the ultimates got popped at essentially the same time. They're not that far apart in terms of their starting cooldowns. I believe it's 120 seconds, it's about 2 minutes on World Ender, and just only slightly longer at 125 for Vanguard's Edge. But when you're using both those ults just trading back and forth, I think Shibal is having a much better time with that. And obviously, that is a little bit hindsight being 2020 because you get so much more value with World Ender in the one-on-one, whereas Vanguard's Edge is much more popular or much more effective, therefore, in a group situation where you can usually get the marks on multiple enemies and get that reset for the Blade Surge.
Yeah, but right now, Coding starting to poke down Kites, even in this 1v1. And Fight's just not taking too much damage, not getting burst down like a lot of other mid laners would in those situations, but still bit by bit the HP going down. Is now Tricky Z may have gone a little bit too close to Dark Lord 70, but Yippie Bjornsson is in the area. They're gonna be looking for the Soraka. Vanguard's Edge gonna come through now as Tricky Z still going to be the main target. Wish is still available if they want to use that though. Yippie Bjornsson fighting 1v2, but now Regis is here with on the hunt, going to jump onto Dark Lord 70. Instead they're going to turn their attention on insert best name. We'll be able to get 1 kill. Imto with the Unleashed Power gonna be going down as well, as now Kai's trying to trade into Smexy a little bit, trying to find something, anything right now for Team Yippie, but won't be able to trade a kill backwards.
Yeah, and just good use of the aggression. A little bit dangerous there. They did get low, but knew they had the Wish in the back pocket. And the Soraka, kind of an understated part of this composition, does have the most kill participation of anyone not named Yippie Bjornsson. And, Tricky Z piloting it very well. We talked about positioning being the name of the game. Tricky Z has been kind of all over the map exactly where they need to be, and even in the situations where they haven't, they've at least had that Wish in hand. Again, the game is not so far out of reach like it was in the last 2, but Yippie need to find some value somewhere, at least in the previous game where they were able to find, at least early on, some of those side lane plays, overloading a lane to get some of those objective bounties. They don't have that. They've yet to take a tower so far.
Yeah, definitely. But now Coding might be in a bad spot. B-Trop gonna force the flash from Coding. So it is going to be a major cooldown burned. And if they're able to find their way onto Coding, they definitely could burst them down. But that's kind of the big if, isn't it? Can they actually get onto Coding again?
They're going to have to find the angle in. And the next time they get onto Coding, is it going to be without Smexy or Shibal there? Because those 2 champs are such big deterrents to, like, I don't really want to go in and fight the Aatrox. He's probably got World Ender up and he's probably going to kill me. I can't really go in and fight with the Xin Zhao there because he can knock me back or knock me up or, just also kill me. It's a very tough situation here for Yippie, and they're trying to find their value. They're grouping up, but I would really like to see them just overload a side lane, create some cross map pressure, force Master Mallows to respond to them, because as it stands, they're not grouped up as 5, and the Otacon has already been started.
Yeah, but the Otacon is going to be shredding them. And like you said, the gold lead, it's 4K, it's decent. But with the Otacon helping out, Team Yippie could definitely look to fight this. And I think Master Mallows are aware they're going to take the TP off of fights, and they're just going to back off. They don't want to risk their lead.
Don't want to risk their lead using that teleport as a signal to, hey, let's back away. But that doesn't mean they're finding nothing. They're immediately going to try and take space into their opponent's jungle, and it could be a little dangerous.
Yeah, but Tricky Z found on the backline will get burst down as Dark Lord 70 able to get that kill and flashing over the wall. They're looking for more coding with already missing the flash. Will get slowed down by the beat drop. Won't get rooted up. Will get finished off now, and they're just finding 3. Insert best name still alive, and it's a quick 3 for nothing in favor of Team Yippie. And now they can start looking towards the Otacon, but Shibal Byangsson, the final boss, is in the area.
Yeah, Shibal Byangsson, the world ender, is ready to cause problems if they get a little cocky around this Otacon. But that is exactly what Team Yippie needed. A good play where they just are able to capitalize on some of the mistakes we talked about. Are they going to be able to get onto Codeine without the flash? Especially, you know, something like Scat of the Week makes it hard to do so. They were able to find it, but now the world ender's been popped. We're going to get a fight here on the top side.
Yeah, they're looking towards him, and immediately we'll be able to get that kill. And look at those critical shots. Shibal just finding everyone already. Double kill, looking for more fights. Gonna get finished off by Regis, as also will be able to finish off Kites. And Shibal Byangsson, I said, was the final boss, but right now it doesn't even matter. Quick ace as Master Mallows bring their lead right back to where it was.
He is not an enemy, he is the enemy, and he's able to just walk in with the world ender completely undeterred by the situation, does not care where his teammates are, immediately just deletes Imchuo. The rest of the team just looks on in horror and is just unstoppable in that top side. 5, 2, and 6 has his 2 core items that allow him to be such a strong team fighter. The extra healing from the Sundered Sky and all the extra cooldowns and damage from the Spear of Shojin. And now Yippie are really going to be left scratching their heads because they thought they had a moment to take the Otacon, but we saw it there. Just because you get some kills, just because you have an advantage, does not mean you have a free Otacon. 1, it shreds you really hard. It's easy to just like get countered on that objective, and 2, that thing is really hard to kill. A 30-second death timer, unless it happens right at the Otacon and you get like a full team wipe, it's usually not enough to take the Otacon just on its own.
Yeah, but now both sides grouping towards the Dragon. Smexy getting zoned a little bit, but Crescent Guard gonna come up, and Smexy instead just gonna play forward. And now the Encore lands onto the entire backline. Tricky's gonna be the first to go down, but it is just mayhem. But Shibal Byangsson is still alive, so it doesn't even matter. Triple kill going over to the Aatrox. It's a 4-for-1, and they get the Mountain Drake in their own pocket.
I think
and they may have found more. Fights, but trying to trade with Cody and trying to find the extra kill. Just needs 1 Marauder. Will be able to get that, and it is a minor shutdown, but Fights has nowhere to go, just trying to take Shibal Byangsson, and now it is time. How long can you keep dodging away? How much time can you waste? But all the time you're wasting is being dealt to your tier 3 in the middle lane. They're already going to lose the tier 3, and it doesn't look like they want to continue going for the inhib, but Fights actually still chasing around, will be able to buy some more space, but did just get hit by the Darkened Blade. I don't think this is where Gallios are meant to be.
No, definitely not. Fights does have like the ultimate or something if one of his team was nearby. He's trying to buy time, but is just unable to do anything. And you're going, oh, well, at least he wasted time on the Aatrox. That's the most powerful member. Master and Mallows are not entirely dependent on that Aatrox. Able to find plenty of value there in the mid lane. That's the power of this Sivir. And as we're getting closer and closer to this proper late game stage, the Sivir having 2.5 items is really strong when it comes to wave clear. And yeah, it's going to be really tough because now the next team fight you do, even if you kill the Aatrox, the Sivir is just going to tear you apart in the meantime. And there's only 1 Oblivion Orb. You talked about anti-heal being such an important stat. Where is it, Yippie? You've only got it on your support of all people?
Yeah, and that is very surprising to me. We do have the Hull Breaker for insert best name on the top side. Maybe we'll give those extra stats needed the 1v1, but that's 2 items to 3. that Shibboleth Youngstown has. So there's no world where you're going to be winning that 1v1 anyway. And it's 800 gold. Just pay the tax. It's going to be worth so much more damage. So much more health is going to get removed from Shibboleth Youngstown, but just not buying it right now. Oh, they pulled Baron.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Whew! A huge amount of damage on
Flashing
intro.
forward, they're looking for Cody, and we'll get a couple autos off, but not going to be able to get the Shield of Durand taunt onto Cody. But instead, Kite's going to be found and just deleted. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Shibboleth Youngstown doing Shibboleth Youngstown things, trading with insert best name, fights, buys a little bit of time, but with a wish, all of the damage is going to get removed, and it is a 3-0, and they're pinging off the Baron. They're pinging away at the game. They're pinging to go to playoffs.
I mean, they have a minute on some of these death timers. Fights is not here for quite a while, and he's probably the strongest team fight tool that Yippie has left. There's just not much they have to do, and that's the power of leaving these inhibitors open but not destroyed. If you take the inhibitor, it just gives the other team a free lane to farm in.
World Ender gonna be coming through. Imto's gone. Dark Lord 70 trying to buy some time, trying to trade something back. Will be able to take out the Saber and will survive. Still buying time, but bit by bit is getting taken out. Now Kites is back in, already down to half HP, as now Flawless Duet is there. Tricky Z, Cody, and Smexy, they're all low. They're trying to clear the wave, and they will be able to. They might even be able to turn this fight back a little bit. They lose one of the turns, but Dark Lord 70 with the stun going to be able to land it onto one. Tricky Z starting to get super low, smited down, but do they have the damage to finish anyone else off? They're trying to get away. The Flawless Duet going to land once again as Unleashed Power going to get blocked by Insert Best Name. Scout of the Week, going to try to turn it back, and again the hero's entrance going to keep Insert Best Name alive. They definitely don't win the fight. They don't get much on the exit, but they do keep their playoff dreams alive.
Yeah, they are able to keep the dreams alive, and if they're able to keep those dreams alive a little longer, both the inhibitor and that Nexus tower do respawn. So usually you're actually going to see most teams want to get both towers low and then peel off rather than take one of the two, because when it respawns, it will be full health. You can see it's already about a third of the way done there. But on the flip side, did you see how much damage Tricky Z was healing? Like, did anyone else notice that? Guys, maybe someone else should pay that 800 tax. No?
Yep.
No, nobody? All right.
It looks like Insert Best Name is starting to, I'm assuming, no, because it's not 2 cloth armors, is it? I'll be honest, I completely forgot how to build Bravo.
No, Thornmail, I believe. Let me check. Thornmail might be 2 cloth armors. I'm gonna do some casual googling on the desk here. Yeah, the Bramble Vest is 2 cloth armors. Okay. So we might see it finally being paid, but like, it's not just the Aatrox that's the problem now. Yeah, Insert Best Name is just gonna get popped in the bottom lane. The entire team with On the Hunt gonna be able to chase him down. They are looking towards the Baron right now on Team Yippie, but it looks like it's just for vision. They are going to go right back to base. There is the teleport available on the Aurelia, but with one of their members down, it looks like it is just going to be the Baron going over to Master Mallows. But again, they're just backing off. It seems like they can't make a decision with where they want to put this pressure right now. And it looks like they're going to decide on Soul. Yeah, Master Mallows going to try and see if they can find something in the top side, find a pick. But again, Baron has a similar issue to the Otacon, not nearly as drastically, but it does shred your armor and MR when it hits you. And so if the game is going to get flipped open, that is where it would be. So they're just going to go ahead and take that Mountain Soul, give them a bunch of extra combat stats, and the shield becomes so much more valuable when you have a heal behind it. Because even if you're not full health, you get out of combat, that shield reforms, and then you just get healed back to full health. You know, it's so much easier to sit there and heal someone when they've got the shield over top of that to kind of deal with some of that damage. It's going to be really, really tough here at this stage for Yippie. They need to find a pick. They need to overload a position and find something on the map. But they're just so far behind. Over 10k gold is the lead now. It's really coming down to a miracle play, a Hail Mary, if you will. Yeah, and it is not going to be the Bramble Vest in the top side, but we are seeing an Executioner's Blade coming in for Kites as Imtuo going to get outplayed with the Unleashed Power up there. So it is an extra pickoff. It is going to be the support who has all the wards for the team. So they're just going to start pulling Baron right now in Master Mallows. And I'm wondering if they're even going to be able to contest, because they're being threatened on the backside as well. Shibboleth Youngstown looking for that tier 3 in the bot lane. That would be the final tier 3 left.
And Dark Lord still in the area looking for the steal, has one more ward. They have the blue trinket as well. 3k HP, gonna be dashing in forward. 2k HP, not gonna get stolen. It is going to be going over to Master Mallows. As now Shiba Byangston getting run down a little bit, but it's so tanky, is so strong. Wish gonna be coming out as well, looking for those extra shots, but not gonna be able to find him quite yet. Is their best name still alive? Will go down to the final Darkened Blade. The sweet spot is there for Shiba Byangston. Encore is there as well, and they have the chain CC, but they don't have the damage quite yet. They will end up finishing it off, but it is a 3-for-0. Make that 4. Hero's entrance is there, but it's a Hero's exit as Team Yippie going to be eliminated from the Aegis Marauders League, and Master Mallows, you made it to the playoffs.
Man, what a tense one. We wanted something with a little bit more intrigue for the final game, and we did sure get it. Another brilliant performance there from Shiba Byangston in the top side. And man, it was a slow burn, but once they took over, those guys on the side of Master Mallows really did not want to give it up.
No, definitely not, but I'm just happy that we had this closer match. I mean, that early game, especially going over to the mid game, there was moments where either team could have definitely gone ahead, and we're even seeing that in the graph. It was, what, 18 minutes where we finally saw our first meaningful lead. I mean, that's a good way to end the series.
Yeah, and you know, you gotta kind of give a shout out to Team Yippie. That first game was so brilliant, and they had some angles here in the last game, but once they fell behind, it was just so difficult to cut through that Aatrox, all of that healing, because when you're behind, it's hard to justify investing that 800 gold into that tax when, but that could get me to my next item. I could get IE, or I could get, Blade of the Ruined King. I could get, something else with that 800 gold. Just really tough to do. Perhaps, though, if you had bought that Bramble Vest early on in the top side, you might not have had to deal with such a fed Aatrox, because he is not an enemy. Like, he's not an enemy. He's not the enemy. He is not a king. He's not a god. He is worse. 45,000 damage in that top side. Clap and a half. Hats off to Shiba Byangston for kind of just trucking through that last game.
Yeah, not just the last game, but the last 2 games. That performance on the Riven was monumental in order to have Master Mallows going over into the playoffs. They are still going to be the wild card seed, but I think they're going to be happy to stay alive for at least one more week.
Yeah, and what we talked about when we were discussing, hey, what's the expectation for the series today? What do we want to, kind of focus on, and where do we want to go from here? For both these teams, win or lose, what you wanted to see was like, hey, can we be competitive? Is there something where we can, move forward and not just get to the playoffs and then go out the first round? Because it is single elimination. It's going to be like really bang, bang, rapid fire, right? Can we have a chance in this wild card round? Well, they proved that they can. If they can continue to play like that, not only did they have the first game where they took, or the second game rather, where they took such a dominant lead early and never relinquished, but they showed the ability to slowly accrue a lead and utilize good game states to get there. And so, hey, a couple more games like that, you might make your way pretty deep into the playoffs. So anything's possible at this point for them.
I mean, definitely, but unfortunately, with that, we are done here for the day. We'll have to wait till next week to see if Master Mallows are going to be able to keep pushing this momentum that they just built for themselves. But before we go, as per usual, got to give our quick shout out over to Zen Market. Zen Market is your one-stop solution for buying products directly from Japan. They'll help you buy items from over 10,000 shops in Japan, as well as place bids on auctions on your behalf. They even consolidate all your items safely to one box and can ship internationally. They provide excellent customer service in 19 languages, which is why Zen Market is trusted by over 2 million users worldwide. Check the panel below the stream or click the link in the chat to try them out now. If you sign up with promo code Aegis, you'll get 1,000 yen off your first international shipping fee. Also, if you decide to make a purchase on Zen Market, use code Aegis25 to get 25% off your first purchase. Now, with that being said, my name was Tokibi. Joining me was Super Brent. If you're up north, check out the Northern Lights. Might be near you right now. And see you all next week for the playoffs.
Bro, just use Zen Market.